Hey guys, Matt, I live 943. In today's video, we're going to be checking out this New York Central S1B Niagara freight set from MTH. So I typically start off these product review videos by giving you guys some prototype info of the real locomotive, in this particular case the S1B Niagara. But just like with the Lionel SD70 ACEs I reviewed a couple weeks ago, I'm going to link the history in the description of this video, just because we have a lot of ground to cover with the locomotive and the freight cars in the set. I figured I would let you guys learn about the locomotive on your own time if you're interested, and then we can speed up this review. So without any further ado, let's take a look at MTH's model of the Niagara, and then a little later we'll come back to the freight cars. Now, this is not MTH's first time doing the Niagara. They did it once before in around 2000 or so. So this engine is about 14 years old from the initial time they did it to this new run that just came out. So this engine hasn't been made in quite a while, but I'm very glad it's back because it's a really nice model. Now, MTH first made this particular run in their 2014 Volume 2 catalog, and this engine will come as a freight set like you see here. They also have a passenger set available, and they have two standalone models without any cars at all. And we'll talk more about those at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that if you're interested. The product number for this particular set is 20-3542-1, and it was delivered by MTH in around March of 2015, and we picked up ours around the same time as when they were delivered. So what we'll do now is we'll take a look at some details on the engine, and then we'll come back to the freight cars a little bit later, and then we will run the model in a little while after that. Okay, so let's start taking a look at some details on this engine. Starting up on the pilot area here, we have this cow catcher that's very nicely done. And then in the middle here, you really can't see it very well, but we have a scale coupler, and you can view it if you want. You can either come in the back here, and you can see it right there, or you can lift up on the coupler cut bar that's right on top of it, and you can see it that way. And if you were to turn the engine over, if you wanted to, you could replace this dummy scale coupler with a dummy O-gauge coupler that's also packaged with the engine if you want to double head this model with another locomotive. And if you guys can't already see it, you can see we have a chain and pin that goes up to the coupler cut bar. That's really nice. And if you wanted to fold down the coupler, you just push it down like that. Moving up some more past the pilot area, we have this air intake vent. I believe that's what this is. If I'm wrong about that, someone please correct me, and I apologize if I'm wrong. If we were to move up some more, we have the smoke box front. Now, for some reason on these newer models of the locomotives of this and the FEF from Union Pacific, that's also made by MTH, the smoke box doors do not open, but on the originals with the Protosound 2, they do open. So I don't know what was going on with MTH when they decided to make these not open. I could particularly care less, but I know some people like that feature. So if anyone knows, please let me know. But anyway, on the smoke box front, we have the New York Central name and the engine's road number. And then if we were to come up even more, we have the operating headlight. Now, just like with all the Protosound 3 models, this headlight is a Rule 17 headlight with an LED bulb in it, so you don't gotta worry about it being burnt out. But if you don't like the Rule 17 feature, sadly you have to use it. You don't have any option to turn it on and off, which kind of sucks. That's just the way MTH does things. Oh well. If we were to take a look down the side of the engine here, we can see a smoke deflector. Now, of course, it's the same story on the other side of the engine. We have another one, and it looks really good. Now, I don't think these can pop off, but if I'm wrong about that, then someone please correct me. Down here we have the cylinder, and then you can see a little bit better here we have the front truck. I didn't mention that when we were taking a look at the front of the engine here. I just kind of forgot about it, but I figured you guys can see it a little bit easier there, so there it is. And then back on here we have all the running gear, which looks really, really nice, and it looks really good when the engine is in operation, which you'll see later. If we were to move in for a closer look on the side of the engine, we have the builder's plate right here, which is legible under magnification. We have this handrail piece right here. And then we have some molded in detail on the side of the engine here. And then we have these running board plates that run all the way down the side of the engine. And if we were to turn the engine around to look at the other side, you can see the detail is just as good. We have the handrail, we have the running board plates, we also have a legible builder's plate up in front here, and then we have the throttle control assembly, and it all looks really good. If we were to take a look down here by the cab area, we have the very nicely done trailing truck with some very nice simply applied detail on it, and like these pipes. These look really, really nice. We were to come up some more, we have the engine's road number 6024 and the official designation for the engine, which the New York Central named these the S1B class. And then if we were to come up some more, we have these windows here. Now these have clear plastic inserts, although this one in the middle here does not. I'm not sure why, but it doesn't have one. And then in here we have a fireman figure, and then we'll get a better look at the interior of the cab right now. Here's a little bit of a better look inside the cab. Inside the cab we have a very nicely done backhead with some painted gauges. We have an engineer and fireman figure in there. And then we also have a couple lighting features in here. We have a lit firebox glow and a cab light. Now just like with all MTH steam engines and diesels with Protosound 3, the cab light does turn off when the engine starts running. And also one more thing that we have up in here is we have these little curtains, which look really nice. Here's a look at the gap between the engine and tender. It's actually not a bad gap for O scale. It's about an inch. And it's really not that bad, although if you consider this to be too big, MTH does make some shorter drawbars you can buy if you want to go ahead and change it out to make the gap a little bit shorter. Now, I should put this out there that the minimum curve on this engine is 0.72. I didn't mention that until now. So if you do decide to change the drawbars out, the minimum curve may increase. I don't know. This is the stock drawbar that comes with the engine. But if you decide to switch them out, proceed at your own risk. And then up here, we have the deck plate right here. And it's got this folding section up here that comes down like that and looks really good. Next, we'll take a look at the top of the engine. Up on top here, we have a feed water heater, which looks really nice. Right here, we have a smokestack. Now, just like all MTH steam engines, this does contain an operating smoke unit. To fill it, you just pour your fluid directly down the stack here. And just like with any MTH engine, the smoke production out of this engine is absolutely incredible. And it can smoke out your room rather quickly. And that's a very characteristic feature of MTH steam engines. And then right next to it here, we have a hand-painted whistle. And then we have this little handrail here that leads down to right there and looks really good. Moving down some more, we have the sand dome right here, and then we have another little one right here. Then back here we have a safety valve, and then we have some separately applied brass pop-off valves back here. Here's one little piece of detail I did not notice upon first glance of getting this engine out of the box and running it. This is a air horn. Now, I have not found any evidence that the engines actually had an air horn on them. Like I said, I did not know it until I got the engine out. But if anyone knows why this air horn is here, I would like to know. I know these engines were used for dual service, so maybe this was used on passenger runs or something like that. I don't know. But if anyone out there knows, please let me know. But in any case, here it is. It looks really good, as you can see. And there is a sound effect for an air horn, and we'll get to that when we run the engine. Finally, we'll take a look at the top of the cab. Now, the top of the cab is pretty plain on this engine. All we really have is some molded in rivets. We do have what appears to be a cab hatch, but it is molded in to the metal frame and doesn't open or anything, but it still looks good nonetheless. Okay, so now that we've taken a look at the engine, we'll take a look at the tender now. The tender on this engine is really cool. It's really large. It's a passenger train or PT tender. It looks really good. Just like a tender on some of the big UP steam engines like the Northerns, Challengers, and Big Boys and such, we have a whole bunch of wheels down here. We have the front wheels, and then we have this big long set of wheels, and this is typically referred to as a centipede style design, and it looks really cool. Here's a little bit better look at those truck side frames. You can see we have a lot of really nice detail on them, and I'm not sure how well you guys can see it, so I'll kind of lift up the tender a little bit, but we have these little safety chains right up here, and those look very nice as well. And finally, here's a look at the other set of trucks. As you guys can see, they look really nice, and it's pretty much the same deal as the other one, although this one does not have the little safety chains on it, but it still looks good. If we were to take a look at the front of the tender down here, we have these ladder pieces which are separately applied and look really nice. We have the back part of the walkway up here. Then we have these hatches back here, and then you can't really see it very well from this angle, but we have the coal bin, and then we have a little bit of real coal down here, which looks nice. If we would take a look down the side of the tender, we have the very crisp New York Central lettering, and then we have some piping down here, and this looks really nice, and the same holds true for the other side of the tender, which we'll take a look at right now. So here's a look at the other side of the tender, and as you guys can see, we have that same pipe work, and it's a little bit different than on the other side. I think it looks really good. Now, this is not molded in piping. This is actually separately applied. It took me a minute to figure that out, but it really looks good, I think. Here's a look at the back of the tender. On the back of the tender, we have another separately applied ladder piece. We have a operating protocoupler that can be thrown using your MTH DCS remote. Up here we have the engine road number 6024. We have these marker lights which look really nice, especially when they're lit. And then back here we have a LED reverse light. And I'm not sure where you guys can see it, but we have the tops of the ladders right up top here, and they look good as well. One thing I wanted to make note of is this piece right here, this right in front of the coupler. I don't know what this is. If anyone knows, please let me know. At first I thought it was like a KD mounting pad or something like that, but I got to thinking about it and it looks nothing like a KD mounting pad. I don't know what that is. It's on several New York Central steam engines we have. It's on this, obviously the Dreyfus Hudson that we have, and the New York Central Mohawk. I don't know what it is. If anyone knows, please let me know. Next we'll take a look at the top of the tender, and we'll start off with the coal load up here. Now this top section here is of course real coal, and it looks really good, and as you guys can see, there's a lot of it, which is a very famed thing of New York Central. They like to have not a lot of stops during their runs, and this engine has a lot of coal in it, so they don't have to worry about refilling on coal, which is really cool. And then finally up on the top in the back here, we have this area back here. I'm not sure what this serves. If anyone knows, please let me know. And then back here we have a water hatch that does open up, and inside there we have the master volume control. And then right here we have these little grab iron pieces, which look really good. Now that we've seen a look at the locomotive that heads the train, we'll take a look at the middle and end of the train, which are these New York Central reefer cars, and then we have a bay window caboose in New York Central livery, and they look really good. So we'll take a look at the freight cars first, and then we'll come back to the caboose. So here's a look at one of the freight cars that comes with the set. It's a really nice 40-foot reefer, and like I said, we'll take a look at the caboose after we take a look at the reefer cars. Now, one thing I do want to put out there is the deal that you get by getting the freight cars here with a locomotive of some kind. Now, in this particular case, obviously we have the New York Central Niagara with this train. But in any case, the deal that you get with these cars is really nice, because these cars, the reefer cars, usually retail for around $55 to $60, sometimes even higher, maybe $65, $70 a piece. So you're getting an engine, 5 reefer cars, and a caboose. And the standalone engine retails for around $1,200. So for $1,300, you get 6 pieces of rolling stock. And mind you, this is premier line rolling stock from MTH. It's the best that MTH offers, and it's a really, really good price because, like I said, the reefer cars retail for around $50-$60, and the caboose retails for around $70 or $80. So realistically, they're practically giving the freight cars away, which is a really good deal. But anyways, let's take a look at the reefer cars. Now I'm only going to be reviewing one of these cars because they're all the same minus the road number on the car. So anyways, let's take a look at what we got in this reefer car. So to start, we'll take a look at one of the ends of the cars. Right here, down on the bottom, we have a coupler, and it has a air hose on the side of it. And of course, this is a non-thumbtack coupler. And to throw it, there's this little bar down here that you pull in, and then the coupler throws, as you can see there. And there's no ugly thumbtack or anything to worry about. So it definitely improves the detail, and it looks really, really nice. We're going to move up some more. This is the brake wheel end of the car. So we have the brake wheel and its corresponding chain and little walkway here. We have a separately applied ladder, and then up here we have the car information, including the railroad and the car road number. We will take a look at the side of the car, as if you guys haven't seen it enough already. We have some separately applied grab iron pieces right here, as well as this little step. We have these die-cast metal sprung trucks. We have the road name and the road number here, as well as some car data. And then back here we have these doors, which I'll get back to in a minute. And then we have this little step down here in the middle. Moving down some more, we have the New York Central System name, and then we have refrigerator, and then we have some more car data down here, which looks really good. We also have another ladder and another die-cast metal truck. Finally, we have the non-brake wheel end of the car. This end is pretty plain Jane. We have a separately applied ladder back here, the road name and road number, and then another non-thumbtack operating coupler back here. Next, we'll take a look at the doors. These doors are really, really nice. We have the little latch that can be used to open and close the doors. Then we have these little molded in hinges, which look really, really good. So to open the door, you go ahead and pull the latch over. You hold the car so it doesn't keep rolling around. And then you move the latch, and then you can open the doors like that. Now inside the car, there's nothing really crazy good in there. It's just a smooth metal surface. Would have been nice if they would have put some little wood flooring or something like that to make it look a little bit better, but oh well, nothing you can do. So to shut the doors, you want to make sure you shut the right one first and make sure the little latch piece is out of the way, and then you shut the left one, lock it up, and you're done. Finally, we'll take a look at the top of the car. Up on top, we have these ice hatches. Now, just like the doors on the side right over here, these do open, and I'll get back to these in just a minute. And then right in the middle here, we have this see-through walkway up here, and this continues back to the other end of the car. Speaking of the other end of the car, here it is. And these hatches do open up as well. And then here's the end of that walkway. Now these ice hatches open up in a very similar fashion to the doors on the side. You have these little latches that you pull up, and then you can open up the hatch like that. Now again, there's nothing inside there, but it still looks good. And then we have this little piece that you can keep the hatch open like that if you wanted to, or if you want to close it, you can just pull it all the way down and pull the latch back like that. So that's going to pretty much take care of the reefer cars. And you get 4 other ones in addition to this one, all with different road numbers, and they are non-sequential. So it's not like 38, 39, 40. It's more like 38, 41, 45, stuff like that. They're not in order of any kind, and they all are really, really nice. So now we'll move on to the Caboose. Finally, we have the Caboose, and I really like the Caboose. It's got a really good color to it, and I really like the overall look of the Caboose. So it's probably one of my favorite cars in the set, or probably my favorite car next to the Reefers. I really like it. So just like all MTH Premier Cabooses, this does have interior lights, and these are powered by incandescent bulbs. And just like with all the MTH Cabooses, you cannot shut the lights off. The only way you could do that is if you cut one of the ground wires to the lights. That's about the only way they'll shut off. I'm sure you could add an on-off switch if you wanted to, but from the box there is no way to turn off the lights. They're on whether you like them to be or not. So we'll start taking a look at some details on this Caboose now. On either end we have a non-thumbtack coupler, and it opens just like the ones on the freight cars with the little tab in the back. And it also has a little air hose. And then on the end here we have the ladder that runs all the way up to here. We have a whole wealth of separately applied grab irons and handrails and such. We have the brake wheel in the middle here. We have a safety chain, and then we have these steps right here, and also these curved grab irons, which look really nice. Moving along the side, we have these windows right here. The New York Central name, which looks really good, and then back here in the middle in the cupola section here we have a worker working at his desk. We have the NYC reporting marks, and then the car's road number 20450. Finally, on the other side of the Caboose we have just one little window over here, and pretty much the same details as the other side. The curved grab iron, the steps, the whole mess of other details back here. You guys get the gist. It's a really nicely done Caboose, to put it that way. Finally, up on top we have the end of the ladders on either end here. Then we have the see-through walkway up here, this little antenna, the smokestack. Now this does not contain an operating smoke unit. MTH does not do that, and I kind of thank them for that, because the ones that do don't really work too well. It's a cool effect, but I personally don't like it. I never use it. And then back here we have a little dome, I think, of some sort. If anyone knows, please let me know. That looks like a dome to me. Not sure. There it is. You can see a little bit better there. So that's going to about do it for the product review part of this video, but we're not done yet. Now it's time to get this train fired up and run it. This set is really, really nice when it's on the track. You guys will see it right now. Let's go. Okay, so now that we've taken a look at some details on the locomotive and the freight cars, we'll go ahead and turn the set on and run it. Real quick before we get this model powered up and running, I'll give you guys my favorite feature, then we'll get going. My favorite feature on this engine is the whistle. It sounds really good, and I think you guys will agree with that. So anyways, let's get this model powered up. Now I'm going to be using the extended startup sequence on the DCS remote, which makes use of some of the crew talk sounds, but if you don't like that sort of thing, you don't have to use it. So anyways, let's hear what we got.
We've got a schedule to keep. Let's get her steam. Clean out the ash pad. Grab a shovel and spread out that coal. Check on that water level, will you? Swing that spout over. Okay, that's enough. Don't bump those side rods, will you? team. I love lower down now. Clear? Clear.
Okay, so now that the engine's powered up, we can give a listen to some of the sound effects, but quickly before we do, as with all MTH engines, the smoke production on this engine is really, really good. You can see it sifting out of the stack there. The smoke production on this engine is great. So anyways, let's give a listen to some of the sounds. Here's the whistle. Now, of course, that was the whistle by just pressing the white button on the remote, and we have several other whistle sounds to complement that, and we'll give a listen to some of those right now. Here's the forward signal, the reverse signal, the crossing signal, and finally the short whistle. In addition, we also have the Aquila whistle function, and that is the SPW key on the remote. If I was to hit that, we have the whistle, and then use the click wheel to use the whistle. Now, the Aquila whistle on the MTH engines is not near as good, the control of it anyway, as the legacy cooling whistle, but that's just the way MTH does it. I'm not sure why, but that's just the way it goes. So anyway, let's hear it. It sounds pretty good if you give it some practice. And finally, one other thing we have is the air horn. And it took me a while to find this, but I finally found it, and here it is. Here it is one more time. Pretty good. Next we have the bell. Pretty good sound of bell there. So next we'll give a listen to some of the crew talk sound effects. Now I'm going to be using these by doing the idle sound sequences and the engine sound sequences. And then in a few minutes after that we'll give a listen to the PFA sounds. Now as always, if you don't like the crew talk feature, you don't have to use it. It's an optional feature. But anyways, let's hear it.
Jump up those side rods, will you? Look good. That'll do it.
Here's another.
I wonder what the problem is. Whatever it is, I hope we're not held too long.
Another.
I think we're about to find out what's going on. Yep, here comes someone walking up this way.
And one more.
I love lower down now. Clear? Clear.
Finally, before we roll the set out, we'll give a listen to the PFA sounds.
We've got a red eye up ahead. I see it, making the application. I wonder what the problem is. Whatever it is, I hope we're not held too long. I think we're about to find out what's going on. Yep, here comes someone walking up this way. There's been a derailment up ahead. We've almost got the track cleared now. What happened? Well, it seems the hotbox set a car on fire. You'll be able to get on your way in just a minute now. I hope there's no more surprises. It's a good thing we had someone to look over our train in the last hour. We just got the proceed signal. Okay, let's get going.
So there's the PFA sounds. And with that, we're ready to get the train underway. Now behind the engine, I've just got the cars from the set. Usually I run some other cars with it, but today we're just going to run the cars from the set. So anyway, let's get this train underway.
Blowing down now. Clear? Clear. Take care. See you soon.
Well, anyway guys, that about wraps it up for this review. This engine and freight set are very, very nice, and they would be a very welcomed addition to any collection of New York Central or just a person who would like this particular model. Now if you're interested in purchasing the engine or the freight set, the standalone engine retails for around $1,200. They have two different road numbers available. They have road number 6014 and 6022, and then they also have the sets. They have the freight set that you see here, which contains number 6024. Then they have a passenger set which has 4 lightning strike passenger cars, and the engine and the road number on that is 6002. And my good friend Mike, MJC 6184, has that engine, and he let me borrow a picture that I will include at the end of this video so you guys can see it, and that's a very nice set and I really like it. But anyway, that's going to wrap it up for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm Matt, channel number 943. You guys have a great one.